Ladies and gentlemen, now in this morning's developer notes, they've pretty much confirmed that Super Awakening is coming, and I believe it should be coming next Tuesday, which is very, very soon. If you've been playing the game and know about the Japanese version, you kind of knew that this has been coming for a while, and I think there's been a very mixed response to this announcement this morning, so I wanted to talk about my thoughts on Super Awakening, because I've seen some people very angry, very upset. Global is now dead, this is the end of Global, I'm quitting as soon as Super Awakening lands, and I would say that if we got the version that the Japanese version had of Super Awakening when it launched, this would be a massive call for a boycott, 1-star review bombs, but if we have the fixed version and the improved version, then we're all good. Super Awakening, when it launched on JP, was the worst mechanic I've ever seen, but they have made massive improvements to it. So basically, the way that the system works is it's additional stars, red stars on top of your characters once you get them 6-star awakened. So the way that you funnel in these additional levels is via Super Awakening coins, Platinum coins, and Gold coins. The way that the system used to work, in order to Super Awaken a character up to 4-star, you needed to have 4 copies of that character. So you couldn't 4-star Super Awaken Lost Fame Meliodas or Goddess Liz unless you pulled that character 4 times, which is beyond unreasonable for Global now. So it used to be a massive cash grab paywall system, because if you're free to play and you summon on the banner, only got 1 copy of each of the festival units, you could only 1-star Super Awaken them, and thus you'd be at a crazy disadvantage in comparison to a 4-star Super Awakened version of that character. So this system, when it launched on the Japanese version, was something that completely killed free-to-play for probably about 2 months. Like, you couldn't bring in any character into PvP unless it was 4-star Super Awakened, because you'd be going off against 4-star Super Awakened characters that had much greater stats and were much harder to deal with. But the thing is, since then, they've removed the alt level restriction, but also on top of that, they've greatly increased the rate which you can acquire Super Awakening coins. So on the provision that we get the same Super Awakening that we currently have on the Japanese version, it is a much better system that I actually quite like now, because it just makes everything like a lot easier and a lot quicker to deal with. It actually has a fair list of pros, but also one of the really good things as well, again, if you've been paying attention on Global, we're currently getting mysterious fragments, and I imagine these are fragments of Super Awakening coins, so it looks like via these we're going to start with a good stack of Super Awakening coins. Also, Tower of Challenges coming to get additional Super Awakening coins there, but hopefully they fast track some of the improvements to the Knighthood boss, which give you even more Super Awakening coins. So the main concern I have on Global is that I want them to be very generous when it comes to giving Super Awakening coins at the start, because again, the most annoying thing is going to be initially Super Awakening, like, you know, your core PvP team, Tower of Challenge team, and everything that you need to use essentially on like a day-to-day basis in competitive environments. So that's kind of like your biggest priority when it comes to Super Awakening. But again, to go over some of the pros of Super Awakening, because again, I think it makes a lot of content that you might not initially consider like much easier. Like the story stuff becomes so much easier because you got a massive stat boost to a lot of the core characters that you can use there. Also, demon farming, if you've been struggling on certain demons, again, massive stat boost there. Auto farming can make certain more difficult stages a little bit quicker. Reverse stages, if there's like a certain stage that you got stuck on, maybe in Season 1, where you can't quite get that 3-star, again, you can get more power levels on characters, more stats to just make it a bit easier to deal with. Also, Training Cave, Knighthood boss makes that a bit more straightforward. Any returning final boss, like Final Boss King and Merlin, have been so easy on the Japanese version, because you got like mega boosted stats now with Super Awakening. If you're looking to increase your box combat class as well to reach the 3 million mark to get the additional health booster as well. Again, more stats via Super Awakening is more combat class to achieve that. So yeah, that's going to be quite a nice booster for my free-to-play account there. So yeah, hopefully, again, this is the big thing that it all hinges on, that we shouldn't have the alt level lock that they removed on JP. I believe we are not going to have this, because every single improvement that they've ever made on JP, we get like fast track to global. So hopefully we should have like the massively better Super Awakening system. That was the big thing that like killed Super Awakening, and also in the fact in the beginning they were very tight with the Super Awakening coins. You barely got any from Tower of Challenge, and since then I think they've at least like doubled the amount you get from a full run in Tower of Challenge, or Tower of Trials should I say, and also added it into so many additional sources. There's Super Awakening coins in bonus events, death matches, like the Crab Raid currently. Also they've had various logging calendars that give you a good stack of Super Awakening coins. The Knighthood store currently on the Japanese version as well does have Super Awakening coins, so something to bear in mind as well if you are looking to save up your knighthood coins. You can buy 3 of them on every single reset there. So you can get 3 via that source, but also via the knighthood boss milestones. There's additional Super Awakening coins as well. So if we have a little bit of a look there, we can see there's one initially. And I think there's about, 3 to 5 of them available every single week via that source. But then again, every 4 weeks you have a reset on the Tower of Challenge. And like, providing you got the Pierce team, for most variants of Tower of Challenge, you, like, easy clap the first 20 floors, man. There's a lot of really cool stuff you can do. I think we're getting one of the harder versions, probably the Escanor Final Boss one, as our very first one on Global, but there's been massive improvements to the amount of Super Awakening coins that you get. I think there's, like, 7 on every single boss stage. So, again, Tower is already a good source of Super Awakening coins, and also they've added some to the Final Boss as well. You can get that via milestones. Again, they really have peppered Super Awakening coins like everywhere on the Japanese version, so they're about 3 to 5 times more available than they were when they initially released Super Awakening. So I'm not too sure if we're going to have that immediate availability on Global, but over the next like 2-3 months, we're definitely going to see it scaled up to that point. But again, the big con is it's going to be a bit of a pain getting a good chunk of your roster initially Super Awakened, unless you've saved up a good chunk of gold, platinum, and maybe knighthood coins as well. And also any new character will need to be 4-star Super Awakened to be competitive in PvP. So that's really the big area. So what you want to think about when it comes to Super Awakening initially is focusing on either like Super Awakening the characters that are going to clear Tower of Trials so you can get more Super Awakening coins, or Super Awakening your main PvP team so you can still be competitive there. And again, if you've been saving up gold coins, which hopefully most of you should have, again, you're going to have so many resources to funnel into the characters that you need on your main team, but also on your associations as well. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as bad in terms of the release of it on Global as it was on the Japanese version. I may be incorrect, but I'm just basing it off my experience that I've had on the Japanese version, and what I'm kind of mentally preparing for. To summarize, man, Super Awakening was really bad. It was terrible when it launched on JP, but the fixes they've made, I actually quite like Super Awakening now. And one thing as well to bear in mind is that the Super Awakening cost actually scales up with rarity, meaning that our champions are actually significantly cheaper to Super Awaken. So if we have a look at Hugo, for example, Super Awakening this guy to 1-star is only 75 XP, and each one of the Super Awakening coins is 75 XP, so one of those we can get in 1-star Super Awakened, but in comparison, SSRs are 3 times more expensive. So this is just saying, if you're struggling on like certain aspects of reverse stages, or just want like slightly cheaper association unit, again, it's not really suggested for max stats, but just something to, you know, keep in mind as well. SSR coins are 225 XP, the golden coins are 15 XP each, and also the silver coins are 1 XP each. My advice is you never ever want to use silver coins for Super Awakening, because silver coins are so valuable for the full stamina refills that it just, you know, doesn't even justify it, man. Like, 1 Super Awakening coin is just like not worth 75 stamina refills, because there is so much value you can get out of 75 stam potions. It's absolutely ridiculous. So even though that they say on the initial announcement that you can use silver coins for Super Awakening. Bear in mind that you never want to use silver coins for Super Awakening. Just be like a little bit patient, because the coins, you know, will eventually come flooding in via various sources. Again, I'm a little bit worried that they are going to be potentially a bit too tight on global when it does come to the initial availability of Super Awakening coins, but this will be gradually fixed over time with patches and updates. And I think the mysterious fragment thing hopefully gives me a little bit of faith that initially they're going to give out at least a decent stack of Super Awakening coins. I kind of predict that 10 of these fragments equals 1 coin. Hopefully it's like 5. Hopefully it's like every fragment is a Super Awakening coin. I think that's maybe a bit too ambitious, though. But yeah, we'll have to see how these trade up into Super Awakening coins and whether or not they're also going to add in a Super Awakening calendar as well. Again, I believe with this update, we should also get Tower of Trials and also Final Boss Taizu Twigo and also Walu as well. So yeah, I'm really excited for this update in all fairness, man. I think Super Awakening is one of those things, again, I hated when it launched on JP. It was the like such a game-killing, cash-grabby system, but now that they've removed the alt level requirement and significantly increased the availability of Super Awakening coins, I think it's in a really, really good spot now. So yeah, personally, I'm actually a fan of the Super Awakening system now, but let me know your thoughts if you've played the Japanese version in the comments section below, but I really don't think Super Awakening on Global is going to be too much to sweat about. Again, it's going to be a bit of a pain to initially get your roster Super Awakened, and all the characters that you really want to be Super Awakened, but it will come with time, and you'll get to a point where you are kind of sitting on an excess of Super Awakening coins for your top tier characters that you're going to pull in the future, unless you're some sort of mad lad that's trying to Super Awaken everybody, and I imagine, you know, some people will be in that boat as well. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, once again, let me know your thoughts on Super Awakening in the comments section below, and if you did enjoy today's video and breakdown, please do smash that like button, that'd be greatly appreciated. But aside from that, thank you all very much for watching, take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.